Okay, thank you, Rebecca, for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining this session. So my name is Isabel Hilliger. I am the Associate Director for Assessment and Evaluation in the Engineering School of Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile. And I'm also a PhD candidate in computer science in the same institution. I'm going to present a study that it's part of a large research project, and it's titled Design of a Curriculum Analytics Tool to Support Continuous Improvement in Higher Education. So this is more or less the table of contents of my presentation. I'm anticipating it should be like about 20 minutes, and I'm briefly gonna describe the background that motivated the research question that we are addressing, and then describing the methods that we decided to use in order to answer that research question. Then show the results for the different phases related to our methods, to finalize with a discussion and some lessons learned for this work in progress regarding this large research project. So regarding background, I wanted to take you all to the moment of graduation. This is like a triumphant moment for people who are doing their PhDs, including me, like a triumphant moment that we're looking for. But it's not only something that excites PhD students, but also undergraduate students. And in a way, now it's becoming more challenging because there is all these requirements related to graduate skill attainment. In the case of both undergraduates and graduates, there is this expectation from the skills that they should develop at the moment of the graduation of their programs. And here you can see a list of skills that have been described by people, for example, in websites like LinkedIn. And there are skills such as creativity or collaboration that could seem a little bit abstract, and sometimes it's hard to tell how a higher education program actually contributes to develop those skills. This is why a concept has gained traction, and it's continuous curriculum improvement. It's not necessarily something new, but in a way, we have been facing the challenge of aligning both program level information and course level information in order to monitor how these graduate profile skills that are expected from our students could be aligned to course learning outcomes, distinguishing course in terms of like a subject or within a study plan, and then how these assessment methods, the assessment methods that are used in a course, provide learning results that allow us to evaluate if certain performance indicators or observable behaviors of a skill are developed or not by our students. And these type of efforts have also raised some teaching staff concerns. So in a way, there is this interest in aligning both program level and course level elements, but then sometimes teaching staff feel at the higher education setting that they are not necessarily involved in curriculum decisions, and maybe that they don't have the information, that maybe managers don't provide them the information in order to know how to extrapolate what they are observing at their courses, at their subjects, and how that extrapolates to like a program level at a graduate skill attainment. In order to solve like this need for more information from a curriculum perspective, a subfield emerged within learning analytics, and this subfield is called curriculum analytics. Its definition alludes to the use of analytical tools to collect, analyze, and visualize educational data, both at a program level and the course level, in order to inform curriculum renewal strategies and improve program quality. Actually, a few years ago, there was a workshop that was completely entitled to how to use learning analytics at a program level, and how this curriculum analytics could emerge and grow as a subfield of learning analytics. Regarding existing curriculum analytics tools, we can see here in this slide a screenshot from a tool that was proposed by UNC University. And you can see this radial chart in which the skills that are attained by a student are shown in terms of like their GPAs in different courses. And this is like a student-facing dashboard chart. Then we also have, like, it could be classified. There is a thin line in order to classify or not course signals, this tool as a curriculum analytics tool, but some work from Priscilla Hellman has mentioned it. And here you have like this screenshot for students in order to monitor how they have been performing. And then you have also in different courses, so there is like a program view, but then you also have this dashboard for teaching staff so they can monitor how different students have been performing at their courses. However, there are some research gaps regarding this curriculum analytics field. There are few studies, or there is a need for more studies regarding the use of these tools and how the use of these tools actually drives curriculum improvement. How actually the information that these tools provide inform renewal strategies. Besides, the evaluations that have been done so far of this type of tools not necessarily show a clear relationship between using the tool and improving learning results or course learning outcomes, or in a more complex level, graduate skill attainment. And at the same time, there is a lack of long-term approaches to evaluate tools' usefulness, and this could be even across the learning analytics field. This is what motivated our research question and objective. So we wanted to understand how a curriculum analytics tool supports a continuous curriculum improvement in higher education settings. And what we do was to like analyze the use of a tool for an extended period of time in order to see how a tool could systematically support continuous curriculum improvement. So with this research question and objective in mind, in terms of methods, we decided to use a design-based research approach. And this is an approach that it's based on the principles of design and assumes that there are different cycles in order to like iterate and understand how a tool could be better used in terms of the design of a tool. And we decided to give sense to the different cycles that we wanted to implement. And in order to do that, we grounded our approach in the integrative learning design framework. This framework has been used by other researchers, and the different phases have different objectives. So there is an informed exploration phase in which the main idea is to identify intended users of a tool and their needs. Then there is an enactment phase in which the idea is to develop the tool based on user needs, to then evaluate the local impact of a tool that has been used in a particular context, and then finally evaluate it in a way of usefulness in varied contexts in order to explore its scalability. And we were inspired in prior work conducted by Pérez Álvarez and Pérez San Agustín, and we decided to do this two-cycle design-based research grounded in the integrative learning design framework, in which we start by an informed exploration phase in which we use the persona technique, then a first cycle in which we develop a tool, and then we did a local study about the use of the tool in one particular university. And then we have another cycle in which, based on what we learned in the first cycle, we redesign the tool and then evaluate it in a broader setting in order to later analyze how the tool supports continuous curriculum improvement. Considering that I'm only presenting like part of the study that we have done concerning this project, I'm going to focus particularly in the informed exploration phase and cycle 1. This phase and this first cycle were conducted at Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile, the institution where I work at, and I also do my research. It's particularly all in the case of Chile, and it has about 6,000 undergraduate and graduate students, and it has like 350 between faculty members and part-time instructors. And within there, the engineering programs that this institution offers, there is 11 professional titles. Like it's like a figure that we have in Chile, but within the programs that award an engineering title, there are 5 that are AVID accredited, and but by AVID I am referring to this North American agency that accredits engineering programs worldwide under certain criteria, and one of its criteria is continuous curriculum improvement or continuous improvement. And in this first phase of the study, we use different data gathering techniques and we involve different stakeholders. So in the informed exploration phase, we use the persona technique because it allows you to create archetypes of users and to identify their needs in order to inform tool developer choices. We gather data using focus groups with 8 managers, people who have a role in terms of curriculum and decision-making at a program level. And we also apply questionnaires with like 25 teaching staff and 51 students. Then we work jointly with a Chilean company that it's called UPlanner. They develop software for higher education, and we use their agile software development strategy to develop a curriculum analytics tool. And then we conducted an instrumental case study to evaluate the use of this tool in Pontificia Universidad Católica, PUC Chile, for simplicity. And we used documents that were related to a continuous improvement that was implemented in this institution, and that involved like about 124 teaching staff members. And we also applied questionnaires to teaching assistants who interacted more with the curriculum analytics tool. So having explained this, I'm gonna go deeper in details and also sharing my results in the next slides. So regarding this first phase of informed exploration, we identified managers and teaching staff as primary users. In the case of teaching staff, they play an intermediary role between like program level decision making, but also like student learning. And they feel they need information in order to provide students with more pertinent feedback, and also to improve future versions of their courses in order to make sure that students develop the skills that they are expected to develop at the end of a program. And in the case of managers, they're also expecting to have more information in what respects to graduate skill attainment to ensure the quality of different educational programs. Regarding students, you could miss students because you could say, well, learning analytics, we have made this effort in order to impact student learning. But in case of curriculum analytics, we identified students as a secondary user that benefits from teaching staff decision-making and manager support, and that could also benefit from having both program course level information, but more related to enrollment of courses and course decision-making. Having identified main users, we develop a tool that has different functionalities for the manager and for the teaching staff. For the manager, it has a function in order to manage roles and supervise the workflow of tasks. It also has a competencies or skills module where they can create matrices of the graduate skill profiles assigned to different programs. And they can also create and edit study plans or like courses of different subjects in order to then allow teaching staff to upload information of their specific subject or course. And also like this tool allows teaching staff to connect specific activities of the course syllabus to the development of graduate skill attainment. So now I'm gonna share with you a video of how this tool works. It's a 2-minute video, so it's like a web-based application, and it has a private view. You access by using the university credentials. So it identifies if you have a manager role or a teaching staff role. This video focuses more in what teaching staff can do, but now it's showing how could anyone access to a specific subject information. It has different tabs. So for example, it has a skills tab where you can relate graduate skills and course learning outcomes. And then it has indicator tabs because competencies or skills are kind of abstract. So you need to like untangle that in different observable behaviors that are more related to course learning outcomes. Then teaching staff can also upload like assessment information and connect an assessment tool to a specific behavior related to a graduate skill, so they can measure graduate skill attainment. And this tool has reports, and one of the reports intends to transform how students have performed in a course in terms of graduate skill attainment. So you have this relationship between an assessment tool and a specific behavior, and that behavior is related to a graduate skill. So teaching staff can establish a percentage that they expect students to have performed satisfactorily, and then they can see if it actually students perform at that threshold, and they can click at a column and see how students distribute in terms of performance. So that's how showing how students, depending on how they perform in a specific assessment tool, perform in terms of like proficiency levels in a specific competence. And then it shows you where living. So it has that, and also it has like this repository where teaching staff can upload evidence in terms of files and reports that explain better how they have assessed different course learning outcomes and skills. So for example, there it's in Spanish because we're a Spanish-speaking country and it was tested in Chile, but it's like, for example, sample of assessment methods, the program syllabus, rubrics that they have used within their courses, etc. So then after having developed this tool, we do the local evaluation in PUC Chile. We took advantage of the fact that we had a 3-year continuous improvement process that we have implemented for these 5 engineering programs that needed to be, that are and had to renovate their AVED accreditation. So these require different tasks for every semester. And in a typical semester, like program chairs or managers would have to decide a specific courses of subjects that could assess a graduate skill. And then teaching staff have to participate in a workshop in order to plan how they could assess a specific behavior associated to a graduate skill. And they then submitted like an assessment plan. And then we also involve teaching assistants so they could like, we have both undergraduate and graduate teaching assistants who support teaching staff in their teaching, and particularly in this case, they support them in collecting evidence for skills attainment. And then the program chair defined a program meeting so they could check, revise the evidence of how the percentage of attainment of graduate skills at a course level by the translation that I previously explained. And they could decide if they wanted to implement renewal strategies or not in each of their courses. So what happened naturally was that the tool, we started implementing the tool in the middle of this 3-year process. So what we did in order to build the instrumental case study is to contrast how the process was behaving without the tool, without having analytics, just with a repository of evidence from different courses on subjects regarding skill attainment, and then how it behaved with the tool. And also we included this teaching staff questionnaire in order to know perceptions of users regarding the usability and the usefulness of the tool. So this chart shows like that there was a wide range of evidence for curriculum discussions at a program level, and there was more evidence per subject or of the accreditation attainment because by being required by the program chairs. They just submitted like 2 types of evidence, like course syllabus or like the assessment plan, sometimes also the grades of specific assessment tools. But then when we include the curriculum analytics tool, it facilitated to them to have more evidence, for example, like to use this repository and add sample of assessment methods and rubrics, and also the automated report of graduate skill attainment served them as an additional evidence in order to discuss as a program if skills were developed or not. And then the questionnaires show that most of the teaching assistants who participated considered that the tool was useful for their curriculum management, and they found that the tool was easy to use and it was clear and understandable. So considering these promising results, I'm going to share like the lessons learned and discuss a little bit what these results mean for us in the context of our research project. So we concluded that a curriculum analytics tool could support continuous curriculum improvement at an institutional level. And we found value in the fact that this tool was integrated into an existing process in which already teaching staff and program chairs were managing to discuss if students were developing the skills attained, and the tool itself facilitated the information in order to improve those discussions. As well, a curriculum analytics tool could help teaching staff to make curriculum like more informed discussions about the curriculum, because of having this relationship between a graduate skill, a specific behavior, and a specific behavior that that in a way is related to an assessment tool. If students are failing, then the teaching staff can see that if the proficiency levels are low, they could like make changes in their courses because there is a clear relationship between a course level element and a program level element. And finally, we also conclude that a curriculum analytics tool could provide teaching staff with information to reflect about students' core competency and proficiency levels. For us, regardless of having a skill-based curriculum, it happened a lot that sometimes teaching staff felt that their courses were content-based. And because we had automated reports and we helped them to build these automated reports based on assessment tools at their courses, they could now have like automated information in order to see how students perform in terms of skills and be more conscious of how they are contributing not only within their course, but in the trajectory of the student in a whole study plan. Still, we think that there is a lot of work to do in terms of the curriculum analytics field and also the improvement of our tool. We would say that it's important to consider the traceability in the design and implementation of a curriculum analytics tool. For us, it was important to develop this whole framework in order to ground our evaluation and consider extended periods of time in order to see if a tool actually supports or not continuous improvement. We also want to explore deeply how a curriculum analytics tool supports teaching staff reflection. We concluded this earlier because of the cycle 1, but we wanted to know more in detail how the tool actually helps teaching staff to make better decisions and what information is particularly actionable for all the information that is provided by the tool. Consider our next steps. Consider that we're starting our cycle 2. We have already developed a new version. We have improved some design, and we're also like planning to do workshops in different universities in order to expand our understanding of the impact of the tool in different contexts. So we have already conducted 2 workshops of universities that use this tool in Chile, and we also plan to do other workshops in other institutions, for example, one in Mexico that also uses the tool. These are some reference of my work. Thank you for your attention. This is my contact information, and now I'm open to questions.